The 21st day of December 2020, it is. Good evening and welcome to Channel 1 News Hour. Tonight, we have some good news in the health sector and also some sad news. The good news is that we have been recording fewer and fewer cases of coronavirus in the country and also reducing the positivity rate. And on the sad note, we have also the doctors who have joined the clinicians and also the nurses in the nationwide strike. What does the country hold? What's the future hold? And especially now that we have Christmas. Talking about Christmas, we have the Christmas rush right here, and we will be telling you how things have changed. Remember, we've never had a COVID-19 pandemic in the country or any pandemic in the country, but now we have the COVID-19 and fewer people are heading home. We'll be talking about that, and in case you are a Nairobi resident, something to smile about is that we have a new governor, albeit in an acting capacity after Benson Mutura, the Speaker of the County Assembly of Nairobi, took over the helm at the County Council. And we have plenty more, including business and also sports. EPL, that's the English Premier League, resumes tonight, and I'll be telling you who are playing tonight. That plus much more. Welcome. Lucy interpreter for this evening. My name is Njue. Remember, we are live from the broadcasting house here in the county of Nairobi and also on YouTube, on Facebook, and also on Twitter, and also on our very beautiful KBC app, which will help you a lot in case you're on the move. You can keep up with all the latest news and also our programs. To the news now. Doctors have now joined striking health workers to down tools, totally paralyzing service in public health institution. The Kenya Medical Practitioners, Pharmacists and Dentists Union, KMPDU announced the commencement of their strike on Monday, citing failure by the Ministry of Health to address their demands. This is coming even as the Council of Governors claims some demands by the medics are unrealistic. Purity Musel with that report.
Another strike, more crisis in the health sector as doctors through their umbrella body, the Kenya Medical Practitioners, Pharmacists and Dentists Union, KMPDU, downed tools citing neglect by the government as they lead the fight against the coronavirus pandemic.
Doctors across this country today have decided they will not endanger their lives. And I'm saying this because I said it before. It is no to a suicide mission.
After 8 months of talks, KMPDU says none of their demands have been met by their employers, both in the counties and national level.
We need the payment of allowances that we negotiated in 2017 paid. We need provision of healthcare facilities in each and every single county.
The doctors are protesting lack of medical insurance, workman injury benefits and compensation, as well as lack of adequate personal protective equipment.
The doctors today are fundraising, and we know very painful experiences of doctors raising up to 10 million right now just to cater for ICU costs.
Speaking during the burial of their colleague, Dr. Stephen Mogusu, in Kisii, KMPD officials said they will boycott work as long as it takes to have their demands met. The situation telling at Nakuru Level 5 Hospital, where patients are seen stranded as doctors boycott work.
Nimekuja hapa kutibiwa, niko na shida ya matiti na nimekuta hakuna daktari. Nimefika hapa saa 1 mpaka saa hii ndio ninaambiwa nirudi nyumbani juu hakuna madaktari.
Similar scenes were witnessed at Murang'a Level 5 Hospital Monday, forcing patients to return home unattended. A strike by clinicians and nurses entered third week Monday.
And I really want to ask the national government, Ministry of Health, especially with the leadership of the current CS, Honorable Mutahi Kagwe, I think it is necessary to be a little bit human and say that these doctors, these nurses, these clinical officers, they wake up, go to treat patients who are sick, and they put their lives on the first line just to save our people.
In Nairobi, nurses and clinicians in solidarity marched to the Ministry of Health headquarters in protest.
Just to provide a work environment that is safe for us and our patients, and so that we can be able to see these patients. Go and pay the healthcare workers under contract who have not been paid for 5 months. Is that too much to ask?
But if you continue with your threats, I can assure you, none of the clinical officers and the nurses are willing to go back to work.
Yes. The medics who commenced their nationwide strike on Monday, the 7th, claimed many of their colleagues were dying from COVID-19 due to a lack of both protective gear and health insurance cover. But the Council of Governors, through its chair, Wycliffe Oparanya, is urging striking medics to call off their strike and allow room for talks. Oparanya, who spoke during county COVID-19 socio-economic re-engineering recovery strategy, claimed some demands by striking medics were unrealistic.
So far now, the strike has been declared illegal. So if you have a brother, sister, friend who will continue being on strike, obviously we shall remove them from the payroll. I've directed that we carry out recruitment of other nurses.
Purity Museo, Channel 1 News, Nairobi.
And away from that, acting Nairobi County Governor Benson Mutura has signed the governor's warrant that gives the Treasury the leeway to release money to the county. The move coming a few hours after he was sworn in as acting governor, replacing Mike Sonko, who was impeached on grounds of abuse of office and violation of the Constitution. The former governor had refused to sign the warrant, disorienting operations in the county since October.
I, Benson Mutora Kangara.
A new dawn has been witnessed in Nairobi County.
Do swear that I shall always truly, diligently serve the people.
Speaker Benson Mutura, sworn in as the acting governor of Nairobi. In his acceptance speech, Governor Mutura said he will work to restore sanity in the county and provide leadership that has been lacking since the last general election.
My assumption to the office of the governor is temporary, and it is meant to guide the transition to the next government. I want to assure you that in the 60 days I will be at the helm of this county. I will provide the required leadership to ensure a smooth transition.
Mutura noted that he is taking over a county that is broke due to the stalemate over the passing of the budget. And to restore sanity and service delivery, the governor's first assignment was the signing of the governor's warrant that gives the Treasury green light to release the money to the county.
I know you are undergoing tough times. It is also unfortunate that due to the budget stalemate, you do not have medical insurance cover, and your salaries have been delayed. As we commence work, my first assignment will be to ensure that these matters, especially the budget issues, are urgently addressed in order to restore service delivery.
The warrant now gives the nod for the implementation of the Nairobi City County budget in the financial year 2020-2021 of 37.5 billion shillings. In the budget, Nairobi Metropolitan Service was allocated 27.1 billion shillings, where he promised to work closely for better service delivery in the county.
And you know very well, as an acting governor, my powers are limited. So I have to work within those powers. I cannot fire, but I'm going to bring harmony so that we can all work. And I am sure that the people who are already in those offices are willing to work.
Other who will benefit from the latest move are county and assembly staff who have been going without salary for months now. With Speaker Benson Mutura now formally being sworn in to act as Nairobi governor, focus now turns to IEBC to set a date for the by-election so that Nairobians can select or can elect the new governor. Reporting for Channel 1 News, I'm Suleiman Yeri.
And away from that, this year's festive season has been characterized by low passenger travels as opposed to previous years where up-country movements are usually high. A spot check by KBC Channel 1 at the Machakos Country Bus Terminus in Nairobi revealed low passenger turnout, with players in the public transport sector lamenting low business, which they attribute to the effects of COVID-19.
At the Machakos Country Bus in the Central Business District, Nairobi. Commuters lining up for tickets, seeking to link up with their loved ones upcountry. However, passenger turnout this year has been quite low compared to other years, which usually experience a rush during the festive season. Operators in the public transport sector attributing this to the effects of COVID-19, which has battered every sector of economy in the country.
Right now, there are not enough vehicles. This is because of Corona. You know, before Corona, the vehicles were used to carrying 64 passengers. But right now, due to social distancing, we are now carrying 30 passengers. That's really a big challenge to us.
Government directive to have passenger service vehicles operate in half capacity, further slowing business in the usually lucrative sector, forcing operators to increase bus fares.
Watu wengi tangu corona irudisha kazi chini hawakwenda nyumbani kwa muda mrefu. Ndio maana sasa wengi wanaenda wakiacha jamii nyumbani, wengine matatizo ya matanga, wengine wanaenda kusherekea. Lakini bei wakati huu wa corona imekuwa juu sana. Juu mimi nilikuwa naelekea pande ya Busia, ndio nielekea Tororo, Uganda. Sasa nimekwama kutoka asubuhi saa 10 na ngoja gari.
But even with all the prevailing circumstances, commuters still manage to travel up country to have their children join schools in January.
Na watu wengi sasa hivi maisha imekuwa ngumu Nairobi, tatu usiwahi tunaenda home. Juu watoto wanafungua shule.
The government has occasionally advised Kenyans living in urban areas against traveling to the villages for the fear of a further spread of the deadly virus. But the travelers say they are keen to observe the laid regulations.
Huu ugonjwa panda ya kusambaa iko, lakini watu wenyewe tuchikinge na tufuate sheria ya health. Hiyo ndio tuokolea, lakini watu wenye wanapuuza ndio wengi ndio wanachangia.
Being the week for Christmas celebrations, however, more passenger movements from the city to various parts of the country are expected. Wycliffe Okech, Channel 1 News.
And as the country continues to battle with the adverse effects of the coronavirus pandemic, the positivity rate is going down with fewer positive cases reported on Monday. In the last 24 hours, 114 people tested positive for the virus from a sample size of 2,507. 5 new fatalities were unfortunately recorded in the same period.
The Ministry of Health has reported 114 new positive cases for the virus from a sample size of 2,507, bringing to 94,614 the number of confirmed positive cases Monday. From the cases, 100 are Kenyans, while 14 are foreigners. Out of the 114 positive cases, 72 are males and 42 are females. The youngest is a 9-year-old child, while the oldest is 81. Nairobi recorded 68 cases, Kiambu 6, Machakos 5, Mombasa, Busia, Nyeri, Kajiado 4 cases each, Bungoma, Meru, Kisumu 2 cases each, and Garissa, Kisii, Nakuru, Marsabit, Uasin Gishu, Kilifi, Nyandarua, Murang'a, Kericho, Vihiga, Taita Taveta, Isiolo and Embu 1 case each. The ministry also reporting that 325 patients have recovered from the disease, 256 being from the home-based care program, while 69 have been discharged from various hospitals, which bring total recoveries to 76,060. On a rather sad note, 5 patients have succumbed to the disease, bringing the cumulative fatalities to 1,644. Beatrice Gatonyangetich, Channel 1 News.
Indeed, some very positive news when it comes to the coronavirus pandemic here in the country. And word of caution, let's always follow the Ministry of Health guidelines as we traveled to see our Kings Up country. Well, on that note, at about 16 minutes past the hour, we are taking a short, quick break. But before that, I see Masi Wambura, you're watching from Kenyatta Road, and also Frida Kawera from Juja. Mama Victoria, you're watching from Membli. Emilio Kenywa from Mudaiga. Pius Gidenji from Ndubuini. And we also have Vincent Juma from Lunyu Muvunje area, and also Nati Steve watching from Mombasa Changamwe. Ostavia di Russian Wekesa, you're watching from Kimilili Chebukwabi. Hope I've got that right. And also Ochieng Jonathan, you say, I like your news, really well arranged, tuned from Maseno Chula Imbo. Hope I've also got that right. Let's take that quick short break.
Mpenzi mtazamaji, Christmas imekuja mapema na quick bid. Lucky bidda ako hapa, tumpe ndizi yake.
Ndio huyu anaitwa Penua. Heshimiwa na tumemheshimu.
Karibu.
Nduti ndio hii kifungu. Shika kifungu yako boss. Ulibidaje?
Niliingia kwa site ya quickbid.co.ke. Alafu nikafuata the process.
Oh yes.
Nikabid 158 na ndio nikaweza kubai nayo hii pikipiki.
Christmas hii hakuna kutembea. Ndio huyu mheshimiwa Kate. Tufanye aje? Kalia nduti, ndio hii ni ya customer, hiyo ni yako. Sawa. Kalia nduti, chukua helmet nini yako? Valia, leta nikushikie hii. Valia. Bas, quick bit wanahakikisha pia safety. Iko on point. Haya, kalia nduti, Kate. Si twende tushughulikie wengine. Si ndio? Twende tushughulikie wengine. Asanteni sana.
Jiunga na QuickBid ni rahisi. Enda kwenye M-Pesa, bonyeza paybill, kisha weka business number 4032353. Kwenye account weka kodi ya bidhaa unayotaka na bid yako ya chini zaidi. Kwa mfano TV 16. Kisha weka shilingi 20 tu kama idadi yako. Weka bid yako pia kwenye www.quickbid.co.ke. Kumbuka, bid ya chini zaidi ya kipekee ndio ununua. QuickBid, bidhaa bora kwa bei ya chini.
On the next episode of Ashoka.
This is bad omen. If a lizard is seen before starting an auspicious work, then it's an indication of somebody's death as well.
What must everyone be thinking now? That the great Kichak's general and his soldiers couldn't find an ordinary boy.
Tonight on KBC Channel 1.
The one and the only Omi Dimples will be on the show.
Wanapenda sana kitu cha nyumbani. So for you to enter to their market, you need to collaborate, of course, with the artist.
Timmy T that aka Rastaman, ameamua kuwa good boy, Willie Oeba the wordsmith will be on.
Wambie hata waandike Nairobi in small letters bado ni capital. Waanze biashara ndani ya Nairobi bado wanahitaji kutafuta capital.
Grapevine Scoop's Best TV Art and Culture Magazine Award.
10 p.m. it is, baby.
You gotta do.
Welcome back and thanks for keeping it Channel 1. Moving on to education matters is that Education Cabinet Secretary Professor George Magoha and his interior counterpart Fred Matiang'i have pledged to ensure that students resume learning on the 4th of January next year. Speaking in Ogande Girls High School during the groundbreaking ceremony of Dr. Ida Odinga Library Research and Innovation Center, Magoha insisted that parents have no excuse not to send students back to school. With full learning expected to resume on the 4th of January next year, the government now says much time has been wasted and there is need to get education systems back on course. Education Cabinet Secretary Professor George Magoha and his interior counterpart Fred Matiang'i have pledged to have all learner report for learning when schools reopen.
We are opening schools on the 4th of January. Please, in the name of God, prepare your children to come back to school.
Magoha noted that the government has put measures in place to cater for masks for the needy students.
For those who are absolutely poor, we have got masks for them. We are going to identify them. But if you can afford and you are waiting to get masks from government, then ask.
On his part, Fred Matiang'i has said that he will use the local administration to whip all the students back to school. Matiang'i says that spot checks will be done in villages to ensure that all students have resumed classes at the start of the education calendar.
It is our responsibility to work with the education officials to ensure that the children are in school. Those excuses that people make about, oh, my child is pregnant and so on, it is you who will have to deal with them. I am asking all chiefs who are here, assistant chiefs, DCCs, county commissioner, from 4th evening, we start getting statistics from you on a daily basis across the 47 counties on the kids who have gone back to school.
The two were speaking at Ogande Girls during a groundbreaking ceremony for the school's library with the capacity to hold 500 learners and a fully fitted theater and a recording studio which is meant to nurture and tap talents courtesy of Ida Odinga. Still on education matters, learners will not resume in 17 public schools affected by floods in Baringo County. Affected pupils have been enrolled in neighboring schools as part of the county faces unprecedented floodings by lakes Baringo and Bogoria that have submerged hundreds of acres of arable land, rendering hundreds of locals destitute.
Ngambo area in Marigat, Baringo County. This was in June 2020. The land was filled with waters after Lake Baringo broke its banks from heavy downpour associated with the long rains. The bulging lake has affected homesteads and schools within the lake. 6 months down the line, the waters are slowly receding, but damage has already been done, with agriculture and tourism sector in the area taking the hit.
Bado tuko na shida. Wachache wetu ambao tumebaki hapa tunaona kama hii imekuwa pollutant. Environmental pollution is taking place because the water you are seeing around here. Kuna wanyama ambao so normal ambao atuwapatangi kama crocodiles, all the aquatic animals, some kind of water snakes ambao wanapatikana ndani ya maji. Wakitoka hapa inakuwa dangerous sasa kwa watoto wa mbuzi, wanakuwa dangerous sasa kwa watoto wetu. Na unajua curiosity ya watoto kimbia around the lake kushika samaki na mnyama ako hapo.
This time of the year would see farmers in this part of Kenya reap big from maize and watermelons, but none could be salvaged from the floods. A section of schools are still marooned in waters. Edward Tamar, a teacher in Marigat, says the state of affairs is turning from bad to worse for school-going children.
Ngambo sub-location yote wamehama, wako kwa milima pale. Na watoto wako huko, wale ambao wangeenda shule tarehe 4. Tunafungua Monday. Hatujui tunafungua Ngambo primary school wataenda wapi. Chini ya mti, hapa mahali tumesimama sasa hii maji mnaona hapa. Kuna miti ambao watoto walikuwa waketi pale. Sasa wamepelekwa wazazi, kila mzazi ameenda na mtoto yake, mahali amepata mahali pa kujenga nyumba hako huko na mtoto wake. Labda it will be upon the parent to decide where to take the child.
The county government of Baringo has set aside 22 million shillings to facilitate smooth learning for pupils from schools which were affected by the floods.
Because we have been advised by the meteorologists and also the geologists that the water in Lake Baringo might not recede anytime soon. it might take some time. They never actually projected the years. And you know, learning is a continuous process. Learners will not wait until the water subsides or recedes.
Area Governor Stanley Kiptis says his administration will do all that is possible to ensure no learner is left out of school. The county government is assuring parents and pupils of a new normal which will allow them continue with learning just like any other pupil and any other parent taking care of her child or his child in another county. But the question is, when and how will we repair the infrastructure and agriculture in such a county? Irene Chuma Udim, Channel 1 in the county of Baringo.
Let's shift gears to politics now, where a man in National Congress Party has unveiled Peter Oscar Nabulindo as its candidate for the Matungu by-election slated for March the 4th, 2021. The ANC National Elections Board reached the decision after undertaking keen scrutiny of all aspirants who presented their papers before the party's election board. The Matungu parliamentary seat was left vacant after the death of Justice Murunga mid-last month.
Peter Oscar Nabulindo is the ANC candidate for the March 4th, 2021 Matungu by-election. Nabulindo was picked among several aspirants who presented their applications to the party's ANC National Elections Board. According to ANC Party Chairman Kelvin Lunani, the decision to hand Nabulindo a direct ticket was reached after various considerations were made in accordance to the party's constitution.
Several names were considered, but the only person who met the above criteria is one Peter Oscar Nabulindo. The election board resolved to recommend the relevant ANC party organ, which was approved, to go for direct nomination of Peter Oscar Nabulindo, who met the criteria.
Tutatembea huko. Marafiki wengi wamesema wanataka watusaidie tushikane kwa hali na mali. Wamesema wanataka tushikane ili tuunge Peter Oscar mkono.
The Matungu parliamentary seat fell vacant after the death of Justice Murunga mid last month. Elsewhere, a Muslim lobby group, Kenya Muslims National Advisory Council, has distanced itself from the stand made by a cross-section of Muslim clerics aligned to NAMLEF and CIPK, who had categorically stated that the Muslim community has strongly rejected Building Bridges Initiative BBI. Speaking in Mombasa, National Chairman of KEMNAK, Sheikh Juma Ngao, said BBI has many advantages to the common mwananchi.
Unachagua prime minister, lakini hawezi kumpa hiyo cheo mpaka ampeleke bunge. Bunge liidhinishe ndipo rais ampe kazi hiyo. Nguvu nyingi hizo ziko wapi? Na hawezi kumfuta kama hamtaki mpaka ampeleke bunge. Bunge liamua ndio wamfute. Nguvu hizo ziko wapi? Enough is enough. Kwa hivyo serikali ijue kwamba hayo ni maoni yao, si maoni ya Waislamu.
Nami kwa majina Sheikh Hamid Zan, leader wa KEMNA na chairman.
Now, Iran ambassador to Kenya, Dr. Jafar Bamaki, has called for concerted efforts among African countries to address rising cases of conflict in the region. The envoy says for African countries to exist peacefully, proliferation of illicit arms to the continent must be dealt with as a matter of priority.
In 3, 2, 1, go.
The ambassador spoke during the launch of the World Cartoon Festival on applying art and culture in silencing the guns in Africa, a competition that invites works of art from cartoonists across the world.
Through this festival, the embassy, in line with the efforts of African Union, will accelerate the two calls to action by assimilating both 2020 and 2021 themes, which will enable a promotion of African arts, culture, and heritage while fast-tracking and silencing the guns initiative.
Barmaki said despite efforts to address a variety of issues affecting the continent, conflicts, extremism, threats of terrorism and transnational crimes remains a challenge in many parts of Africa.
The continent of Africa, similar to other continents, continues to grapple with the global pandemic and its own pre-existing challenges, such as silencing of illegal guns with the aim of achieving a conflict-free Africa.
This, he said, has attracted the attention of the Africa Union, which has partnered with the member states to lead the 2020 initiative on putting an end to illegal arms within the continent.
Though the initiative was slowed down by the ongoing pandemic, the embassy joins the bandwagon of stakeholders that seek to expedite action on silencing the guns by launching the World Cartoon Festival today.
The competition will run from December 2020 to May 2021 and will promote African culture and heritage while at the same time fast-tracking the Silencing the Guns initiative. The envoy said the initiative to silence guns in Africa was greatly affected by COVID-19, but emphasized on the need to assimilate the 2020 and the 2021 themes to achieve the intended purpose.
And if you're an avid user of social media, then you need to listen to this. The National Cohesion and Integration Commission has cautioned bloggers, online news sites and political leaders against misuse of social media platforms. NCIC Chair Samuel Kobia says Kenyans should exercise discretion at all times to curb cases of hate speech utterances. The Commission was speaking when it signed a memorandum of understanding with the Communications Authority of Kenya that seeks to bring to book online users perpetrating inflammatory remarks. And according to NCIC, collaborating with the Communication Authority of Kenya, that seeks to bring to book online user perpetrating inflammatory talk, they said that the authority will help the Commission identify the messages quicker than it was the case before.
The freedom of speech in Kenya is, of course, enshrined in the Constitution, Article 33. But we also know that Article 33 identifies those areas that citizens do not have a freedom of expression. And one of them is hate speech and ethnic contempt.
The two organizations also commit to facilitate enhanced information sharing relating to broadcast content, as well as sustained civic education on the responsible use of social media.
To the corridors of justice now, the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions now has 1 month to decide whether or not to charge former prisoner Julius Wambua, who was released last week from the Committee Maximum Security Prison. Wambua spent close to 10 years behind bars after he was framed for defiling his own daughter. Kidhimani Law Court Senior Resident Magistrate Eva Wambugu has said that he has considered the application by Ms. Nacho Njue, including that of former convict Julius Wambua, through his lawyer to establish whether there was a case or not. The DPP indicated that they were not ready on Monday for plea taking on grounds that they intended to launch an appeal to the decision by the High Court and also peruse the proceedings and the judgment of the High Court before making a decision on the direction the case would take. Last week, Justice Maurice Odunga in Machakos released Julius Wambua on a 30,000 shillings cash bail after new evidence was brought in court on how his daughter was coached by her mother to fix the father.
So tunashukuru kwanza tumepata nafasi ya kukuja mbele ya mahakama kulingana na uamuzi wa High Court ya Machakos. Mahakama ilikuwa imetuamrisha hii siku ya leo tufike mbele ya hakimu hapa ndiposa tupate kupata mwelekeo vile hii kesi itaendelea. Kwa siku ya leo vile tumekuja tukikuwa tayari bwana Wambua kusomewa mashtaka, upande wa kiongozi wa mashtaka umeomba mahakama ikubalie nafasi wapate kuangalia zile stakabadhi zote, waangalie pia uamuzi wa mahakama ya juu pale Machakos, ndipo wapate kuamua kama watamshtaki upya ama itakuwa vipi.
Elsewhere, a Nairobi-based businessman has denied obtaining over 600,000 from a microfinance company by false pretenses and has been released on a cash bail of 100,000 shillings with an alternative bond of 200,000 shillings. It is alleged that Joseph Ndunda Awich took the cash from Delhi Capital Limited but had no intentions of refunding the money. Joseph Awich is accused of severely defaulting on his payment with an intention to defraud after issuing 2 bouncing checks.
This case will be mentioned on the 6th of January before court number 3 for pretrial directions and fixing of hearing dates, and the defense will be supplied with a copy of charge sheet and witness statements.
Away from that, human rights stakeholders now say lack of awareness on sexual violations among teenagers has led to the low reportage of teenage pregnancy cases. Elsewhere in Nakuru County, a section of needy families in the area have benefited from free Christmas goodies by a local charitable organization. More details in our county news roundup.
Impact Research and Development Organization, a non-governmental organization in collaboration with Kenya Red Cross, are currently conducting a sensitization program among teenagers in Kisii. According to the human rights organizations, Kisii County is seeing a rise in teenage pregnancy and various forms of human rights violations such as defilement and young girls eloping with men.
An adolescent who is below 18 years cannot give consent for sex. So those are violations that are happening. Some are reported, yes, some are not reported because they still do not know where to channel their grievances or where to report. So those are the sensitizations that we are conducting in the sub-counties so that these adolescents can be aware that these violations are happening. Because sometimes if they do not know that this is a violation, then they do not know even to report. But when they are sensitized that it is a violation, then they know that they need to report and where do they start from.
Meanwhile, in Nakuru County, Love and Hope Foundation, a local NGO, has pulled a surprise to the needy and vulnerable families with food rations and non-food items. The beneficiaries are among thousands of needy families who have also undergone empowerment training program under the foundation. And in Garissa County, a group of religious leaders from different denominations in the region have taken to prayers along the Garissa-Mwingi Road to cleanse it from frequent accidents. Led by Reverend David Matola from the Redeemed Gospel Church, the clergy called on the Kenya National Highways Authority to ensure that the road is clearly marked with visible signs and bumps erected at 3 black spots that have claimed many lives.
Hapa kumekuwa na accident nyingi ambazo zimeweza kumaliza watu wetu, na hivyo tumekuja na jukumu moja.
Elsewhere in Makueni County, it is a new lease of life for one Julius Wambua who spent more than 10 years at Kamiti Maximum Prison for allegedly defiling his daughter. Wambua, who walked to freedom last week, has now gotten a 2-acre piece of land courtesy of former Kibwezi Member of Parliament Kalembe Ndile and a motorcycle to run errands.
Ni mimi ambaye nilikuwa katika jela ya Kamiti nikiwa natumikia kifungo ya maisha bila kujua nilitenda nini.
And over 500 members of Larinya, Kenya have asked the government through the Ministry of Lands to intervene and rescue them from imminent loss of their investment. The members claim that the original piece in Sulai was transferred to Gilgil. Their bid to subdivide the land has been met with a manner of obstacles.
Now, you will bear me witness, since the handshake and the BBI, a lot has been said, and the handshake gave rise to the BBI report. And the journey has been tough, long, and also hard to bear. But there is a light at the end of the tunnel. After the handshake, the BBI, now we have the BBI initiative that has given rise to the BBI draft bill that has Kenyans to decide whether to adopt it or not. Let's look at the journey of the BBI report.
Building Bridges initiative, founded on the historic 9th of March 2018 handshake between President Uhuru Kenyatta and opposition leader Raila Odinga, began the year 2020 on a higher note. The term of the Yusuf Haji-led BBI task force had been extended after presenting its first report at a colourful event at the Bomas of Kenya on November 27, 2019.
Taifa letu tukufu, Kenya tunayoipenda.
The 14-member task force then embarked on another round of public participation exercise and a series of validation hearings where business leaders, union leaders, the youth, the political class and Kenyans from all walks of life presented their submissions.
It is our submission also that we need to remove from our heads the discussion of the institution of the Senate from the people who are sitting there at the moment, including ourselves.
County assemblies are the ones who are mandated to oversight the county executive, but at times in most of our counties it doesn't really seem to be working quite as envisaged.
Unless you ring-fence the fund, governors have found a way, very cleverly, to make and mischievously, to make sure that those ward representatives are not elected.
Government agencies should be free to make their own decisions rather than be under the direction of a central agency that may be prone to political manipulation.
This second phase of the BBI process was, however, slowed down by the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic, which necessitated restrictions such as social distancing to curb the spread of the virus. But even then, enforcement of these measures took a political twist as political antagonists on BBI cited selective application of the protocols. Months down the line, however, on the 21st of October 2020, the BBI task force presented a final report on the submissions collected to President Uhuru Kenyatta and ODM leader Raila Odinga at State Lodge in Kisii County just a day after the Mashujaa Day celebrations.
This document is not about this individual's presidency and that individual's prime ministership, that individual's this. No. This is about all of us.
Mbeleni kumekuwa na porojo ati ni kuongeza tu kazi kwa watu wachache. Hapana.
It will then be publicly unveiled on the 26th of October 2020 at the Bomas of Kenya, albeit with divided opinion on its process and contents.
How fair will be a league where the referee is appointed by teams, and not all the teams, some teams.
A document whose objective is really nothing more than to find what ails our country and hopefully give us a solution that will heal our country.
We don't want wengine wanakwenda sisi tunasema la si nini. No, let's bring it here. The disabled have spoken and they've been heard. Wakina mama wameongea na wamesikizwa. Vijana kila mtu ameongea na tutasikizwa. Do we want this to be a unifying process?
Calls for further amendments and consensus building were seen as attempts to derail the process.
Don't dare us to a contest or to a competition. We are not interested. We are interested in the merit of the good we want in our constitution. We want a good constitution. We want a progressive constitution. We are not interested in a contest.
Sasa wanasema ati sasa tayari tafadhali tuongee ili tusiwe na mapambano, tusiwe na mchuano. Lakini mimi kama mwanasiasa sijajua pale ambayo kuna ile kura ya maoni, yani referendum ambaye hakuna pande mbili.
The train has left the station. You can catch up, you can run, na tuseme vile tunasemanga kwa Kiswahili udandie.
Sasa wanatuambia the train has left the station and they no longer have the time, the desire and the need to listen to millions of Kenya. Na tunawaambia waende pole pole.
Already 25% ya registered voters wamesema yes kwa hii safari. Lakini wanasema safari ya mamba pia kuna kenge. So lazima utasikia tu wengine wakipiga kelele hapo na pale. Sisi hatuangalii nyuma.
So kwa hii yes or no. Debe iamue. Wananchi wa Kenya waamue.
What followed was the launch of a signature collection drive seeking to support the Constitution Amendment Bill of 2020 that further ran into political headwinds.
I appeal to the patriotic Kenyans to come out in record numbers and append their approval in a record time so that we move to the next chapter.
Na wengine watakuja watafanya amendment ingine. Na ndipo tunasema katiba yu hai.
Resilience paid off again with the BBI Secretariat revealing that it had collected over 5 million signatures to facilitate the constitutional amendments, surpassing the constitutional threshold of 1 million signatures to take the bill to the county assemblies for debate. Proponents of the initiative remained optimistic that the Constitution Amendment Bill of 2020 will get a nod from the majority of county assemblies and that it would be passed as soon as it is presented in Parliament to set the stage for the referendum.
Again, we are ready as National Assembly and the Senate to come back once the counties will have also disposed of it. And I also expect the counties to take below a month. What are you doing with this document?
The additional seats ambazo mmeongeza katika BBI proposal is something that is making us from the Central Region area to be very comfortable with BBI, and we are very, very much supportive, and we will ensure that BBI proposal, when the bill comes to the National Assembly, tutaipitisha kwa sababu tunataka hizo viti.
And as the country still grappled with the COVID-19 pandemic, queries arose over the referendum's timing and cost.
It is legitimate to question the wisdom of spending 14 billion shillings a year before an election that will cost us another 42 billion going by the 2017 figures of the IEBC, when a referendum could be conducted as the 7th ballot in a general election at a virtually no cost.
Ile bill ambayo iko mbele yetu ni bill ambayo iko katika kamati ya Justice and Legal Affairs Committee, na hiyo bill haisemi ati referendum na uchaguzi ifanywe pamoja. Inasema Wakenya wafanye referendum saa yote wanataka, na uchaguzi pia inajulikana wakati yake.
Watu wanaosema ati election ikuwe held at the same time as the referendum, then you wonder yourself, then why do we have the referendum after all? Because the referendum's main idea is to cure the problem of post-election violence and strife.
Mimi nilikuwa nasema tufanye hii BBI tukifanya uchaguzi. But kama kumaliza hii maneno itatufanya tufocus katika hiyo safari ya mbele, I am ready. Na tuko tayari.
If the challenges the BBI has overcome and is prepared to overcome can be likened to the pangs of labor, then Kenyans hope that the eventual bundle of joy will break the cycle of divisive politics that has bedeviled the country during and after general elections. For Channel 1 India Review, I'm Safin Aching Oma.
Thanks, Safin, for that comprehensive report on the BBI and keeping tabs with what is happening in the coronavirus situation around the globe. Is that travel has been shut down to and from the United Kingdom in response to a virus threat. India is the latest to halt flights in response to a new, more infectious coronavirus variant spreading in the UK. However, despite the concern over the high transmission spread of the new strain, experts say there is no evidence to suggest that it reacts differently to vaccines. Take a look.
European Union officials are discussing a joint response to a new, more infectious COVID-19 variant in the UK, which has sparked travel bans by many countries. Canada and India joined European states in blocking flights from the UK, while Europe-bound train services via the Channel Tunnel have been halted. The new variant is said to be up to 70% more transmissible, but there is no evidence that it is more deadly. On the same breath, the government has ruled out extending the Brexit process into 2021 amid calls for it to be delayed due to the COVID-19 crisis and the deadlock in trade talks. The impasse in trade talks and the disruption at UK borders due to the COVID-19 crisis has led to renewed calls for the UK to reconsider extending the transition period to allow more time for a deal. Talks continue in Brussels with 10 days left until the UK leaves EU rules.
On the next episode of Corner.
Do you know how small I felt? Sitting there, waiting.
I know.
No, you don't. Have you ever waited foolishly at a person's reception for 1 hour?
Switzerland bank account. Check it out if it doesn't exist. If it isn't a money trail.
Next on
Back to El Paraíso. That's where our story began. And where all of our memories are found, Florencia.
I only didn't want Amaya to let her imagination run wild, thinking her mother could be alive only goodness knows where. Imagine that.
I was never one to give up. I will not stop looking the world over for a doctor who can give me my voice back.
No, don't worry, my love. Mommy's here. I'm going to save you. You're going to get out of here alive, darling. Don't you worry, my love. I'm going to get you out of here.
Here with us and KBC Channel 1 comes with good tidings for the season as we appreciate you and desire to put a smile on your face with Christmas gifts. To participate, answer a simple question and you stand a chance to win 10,000 Kenya shillings this Christmas. Send a short message to 0771 702 816. Merry Christmas from KBC Channel 1.
Welcome back and thanks for keeping me company. Moving on to business, the tea bill is closer to becoming law after the Senate passed the bill without making any amendments. The Senate affirmed the National Assembly's resolve to establish a tea board that will oversee activities in the sector, despite the Council of Governors' oppositions who want a devolved units to manage the sector's activities.
The Council of Governors had hoped Senate would amend the tea bill and remove the clause establishing the tea board that, if signed into law, will manage the tea sector in the country. The tea board, among other things, the Senate said, would go a long way in eradicating cartels through monitoring and licensing agents and companies involved in buying and selling of the green relief.
This so that the questions surrounding tea and coffee can also be addressed. The cartels that exist in tea, they also exist in coffee. Possibly worse in coffee.
My farmers earned between 9 shillings and 15 shillings from bonus. That is peanuts. That cannot support peasant farmers in getting enough money to pay school fees, take care for their needs.
Know some tea auctioneers. I know how they do their business. And they do everything in the book to make sure that they enhance their profits. And if they are not licensed and managed properly, then that is where the farmer is going to lose a lot of money.
The bill proposes that only tea factories with 100 acres under tea bushes will be given licenses to operate, while farmers will be paid 50% of their tea sales 14 days after the date of auction.
This bill, once passed, is going to compel farmers to be paid within 14 days from the date when the auction deal was finalized. Currently, it takes so many days, notwithstanding an auction deal has been finalized.
Today, as we speak, this year, the farmers got little to nothing for their tea.
Deputy President William Ruto and former Prime Minister Raila Odinga have hailed the bill, saying it will free small-scale tea farmers from constant exploitation.
It is necessary for us to control the levies, the charges that are charged on farmers, either at the factory level or at the auction level, where we have tea brokers. The law is now going to ensure that farmers are not exploited, that there is a management fee that is known, that is non-negotiable, that nobody can increase without proper consideration.
During the debate, a section of senators proposed creation of similar boards to oversee activities in high-potential crops such as coffee, coconut, and cotton to maximize their potential.
All cash crops in this country, all value chains for all the crops grown in this country, to ensure that the benefit, if any, should go back to our farmers.
Benson Njue reporting for Channel 1 Business.
Elsewhere, Homeboys Entertainment public listed company has been listed on the Nairobi Securities Exchange. The firm is seeking to raise over 250 million shillings from the capital markets in their expansion strategy. Speaking during the bell-ringing ceremony of Homeboys Entertainment PLC, NSE chairperson Kiprono Kitoni urged the SMEs to take advantage of the NSE's Ibuka program to get additional capital for their startups.
According to the Capital Markets Authority, billions of shillings are held by individuals and corporates that could be invested at the bourse to make it vibrant. However, the NSE has lost the opportunity to tap into the opportunity due to the limited number of firms listed at the Nairobi bourse.
3, 2, 1,
Homeboys Entertainment becomes the latest company yet to be listed at the bourse, bringing the number of total listed companies to 63.
The listing of Homeboys Radio is a vindication that the small and medium-sized enterprises of this country are able to do capital raising and value realization through listings such as this one.
Having completed its incubation process at NSE's Ibuka program, the firm has floated 63.2 million shares, with each share going for 4 shillings and 66 cents, with the shares expected to start trading next year.
Having come and started in the Juakali sector or in informal sector, we didn't have a lot of structures in place. So I felt that if we decide to list, you're forced to abide by certain rules and codes of conduct, which I think is what a business like ours requires or needs. Having grown so fast in the number of years we have.
Homeboys founder and chairman Mike Rabah says the listing is part of the firm's strategy to access cheap capital and participate in mergers and acquisitions in its expansion strategies.
I think every business has gone through the motions of seeing how they can re-strategize. And one way that businesses can finance their companies is by raising money from the stock market. So as opposed to one way of raising funds, you can also come and identify other opportunities on the exchange.
SMEs have been encouraged to take advantage of NSE's Ibuka program to list at the Nairobi bourse to access additional capital for their startups. Homeboys becomes the first company in the media and entertainment sector to be listed on the growth enterprise market segment of the NSE. The event that has just happened behind me is history, where small businesses are being aggressive even during a time of slow private sector credit growth. The rallying call now to small businesses is continue being aggressive and rally those funds in any way you can in order to remain relevant. Alan Naoko, Channel 1 Business.
In sports, Team Kenya are on the verge of retaining the Mombasa Open International Tong Ilmudu Championships overall title for the 8th year running, having produced a sterling performance at this year's event at the Aga Khan Academy in Mombasa. After putting up a sterling performance on day 1 yesterday, Kenya was unstoppable on day 2. Today, outclassing rivals Philippines, who defeated them at last year's World Martial Arts Masters Championships in South Korea. World Tong Ilmudu Federation President Grandmaster Takamitsu Hoshiko was impressed with the COVID-19 measures put in place by the organizers to ensure the event took place this year. A total of 10 countries took part in the tournament, including Japan, Ivory Coast, Turkey, Iran, Thailand, and Brazil.
And we never miss any year. Every year we could continue this Mombasa Open tournament because of the support from the Kenyan government.
So the support we've gotten from the government is tremendous. We've been able to purchase very good equipment for our participants, for the national team, towards the preparation for this tournament. And up to now, as you can see, the tournament is going on very well. Competitors are geared up to win medals for their countries.
Boss Oleguna Soja says talk of a Premier League title bid is premature and fans should wait until March or April next year to assess the second-placed Leicester. From England to Spain, where Real Madrid are confident of signing PSG striker Kylian Mbappe, despite interest from Liverpool. The Reds have previously been And for soccer fans, the EPL is currently underway, where Burnley is 2 goals up against Wolverhampton Wanderers. At the minute is 77 minutes, and at about in the next 1 hour or so, Chelsea will be actually at Stamford Bridge waiting for the Hammers, that is West Ham United. And my director Amos Ongweri, who is an ardent and avid Chelsea fan, says that Chelsea will carry the day. Well, let's wait for that game. We'll be back with the results tomorrow. My name is Ben Troy Njue. Thank you indeed so much for keeping me company, and everyone who was able to watch us via our various social media platforms. Thank you so much. My colleague was Lucy Mora on the sign language interpretation, and on behalf of everyone who has made this broadcast a success, thank you so much for watching. Have yourself a blessed night. But for now, I'm giving way for Irene Mchuma Odim with the latest weather forecast. Good night.
Good evening. I hope you're well today. My name is Irene Mchuma Odim. Tonight it's raining in Laikipia, Nyeri, Nyandarua, and the county of Kisumu. This, as the rest of the country, is covered with partly cloudy conditions, though areas around Turkana are tonight experiencing strong southerly winds of 12.5 meters per second, and this will also stretch to early morning hours. This, as the region will experience mainly sunny intervals during the morning hours, but in the capital, though there will be cloudy weather patterns during the early morning hours, sunny intervals will largely dominate. These are weather patterns that will also be experienced in Meru and Nyeri, as well as the northeastern parts of the country, equally at the coastal strip and the southeastern lowlands. These wet conditions that we're seeing here over the western parts of the country and the Lake Basin region will largely affect Bomet, Nyamira, Kisii and Kisumu areas. Equally, Kericho will also experience rains during the morning hours, but coming in the afternoon, we'll see a reduction of wet conditions over a few areas over the western parts of the country, but there'll be showers over several places in Meru and Nyeri, and these will largely affect mountainous areas. The capital will mainly be sunny. The western sector will experience showers accompanied by thunderstorms over a few places, and this will affect Kisumu, Kakamega, Kericho and Kitale. The northern parts will experience sunny intervals equally at the coastal strip, though a few areas will experience cloudy weather conditions. And for residents in Machakos, Makindu Voi, expect sunny intervals to prevail. Let's have a look at temperatures. And this is it. The highest across the country will be experienced in Lodwar and Mandera at 36 degrees Celsius. The capital will experience highs of 26 degrees Celsius. And for you in Voi, we are looking forward towards highs of 31 degrees Celsius. Let's cross the borders and have a look at the international forecast. See you tomorrow. God bless.